Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Cannversation, where we intend to destigmatize the conversation around cannabis and clear up some of the many misconceptions around this powerful plant. I'm your host, Dave Briggs, former CNN, NBC Sports, Fox News anchor, and host at Turner Sports. We also hope to have some fun along the way. And one national trend we're seeing that sure will help in that regard is high-profile former athletes literally jumping into the cannabis industry, predominantly from the NBA. But in August, the Pro Football Hall of Fame will welcome its first ever cannabis business owner in the form of one of the greatest wide receivers in the history of the game, Calvin Megatron Johnson, who still owns a single season receiving yards record, just under 2,000 yards, and frankly would probably own a lot more yards records if they put a better team around him. But that's for another day. We are thrilled to welcome him and his good friend Rob Sims, a teammate with the Detroit Lions. They both now are crushing it with their new company, Primitive, in Michigan, which is legal both medically and recreationally. Great to have you on the show, fellas. I know that you have a beautiful grow in Weberville, but you join us from Niles, Michigan, at the soon-to-be dispensary. Tell us about the beautiful place you're at right now.
Man, just just a dream come true that we're finally to this place, and hopefully, days, weeks away from opening. A lot of hard work went into this over the last 3 years of us just figuring out what our place in the cannabis industry is, and just looking forward to seeing what the future holds, and be loving it when this place has people in and out of it every day. Looking forward to that.
Calvin, when you walk in that place, are you just beaming with pride? What's the reaction?
So much pride, what gives me more pride is that the people that we have here in place, our GM, our assistant GM, they have so much pride. They're so excited to get this place open. So, just their excitement, their energy, it's bouncing off the walls in here. It's very contagious.
Outstanding. I know you guys have some product there, so we're going to ask to see that a little bit later. But I want to start at the beginning and what brought you to this point where you started Primitive. So everyone has a cannabis story, and I want to hear yours. Rob, we'll start with you. When did you start smoking, or in whatever form you started enjoying it? And what did you enjoy about it? Do you have any memories about it, any good stories that really stand out?
In 2008, I tore my pec off the bone. I missed the whole 2008 season playing for the Seahawks. And, I remember getting out of surgery and they handed me, 40 Oxycontin and basically the label saying, take as there's pain. So as being a young man, 25, with a lot of time on my hands, a couple of dollars in my pocket, I thought that was like the most reckless thing for them to do and give me at the time. So I went for something more natural and got introduced to cannabis out in Washington, and kind of carried that through Detroit for the rest of my playing days as just a safe alternative. And then my wife actually suffers from Crohn's disease, and she was going to have like morphine shots and start Humira and everything, and introduced it to her, and she loved it and told me, hey, you need to go get in that business. So those are the fond memories for me.
So you did not smoke at Ohio State?
I did not smoke at Ohio State. I come from a strict, very faith-based family. My father was 6'8", 400 pounds, and I wasn't getting caught with cannabis at the time, and also Jim Tressel would have shied away from that at the time. So not until I got in the league and I actually found something that was necessary.
So Rob's a national champion at Ohio State, the captain there for the Buckeyes. I know it was a little bit of a different story for you, Calvin, at Georgia Tech. I believe that is where you started. Tell us your cannabis story.
Yeah, I really started shortly after I was at Georgia Tech. I had my first experience with cannabis, and it was just obviously my first time. It was like walking on clouds, but I really was like, what is this? I was around cannabis. I saw cannabis when I was in high school, but I didn't partake because, like Rob said, I can't go home to Miss Johnson smelling like cannabis. She don't rip me a new one. It was just, obviously, in college you have more freedoms. I experimented then, and then when I got to the league, definitely was a regular use after games. really for the healing properties of, it helps me with sleep, helps with the pain. So that's really where it was very helpful for me. And on top of that, it was for me a holistic choice and a natural remedy.
Here's what's interesting. You both played 9 years in the league and had no issues, no tests. It wasn't a big story. How in the world did you guys come out clean all those years, Calvin?
It ain't that hard.
No, it ain't that hard. It's not that hard.
So how do you do it?
You only get tested for street drugs at a certain time of year.
Tell them the first day.
The first day is 4/20. Actually, the day they will start to test you. So that's a bummer. And then, August 9th is the last day. I think that the league has even extended that now, which I think is great for guys to be able to in the off season find some relief as well. But when you just know when it's time for you to kind of shut down. So the NFL has its own cannabis culture, believe it or not, between the guys. And the ones that are smart about it are able to do it safely and respectfully and just be able to move forward.
The first day they test you is 4/20. Is that irony or just punishment?
They got a weird sense of humor up in the league.
That's a very weird sense of humor. Rob talks about a cannabis culture, Calvin, in the NFL. Tell me more about that. I mean, in your estimation, how many guys in NFL locker rooms, at least in your day, did smoke?
Yeah, over 50% of the guys, whether it was a constant thing or just for social or just for healing, I would say over the half of the locker room, I would want to say way more than that, but maybe 60-70% have experience with cannabis. So college, think about it. you're going to come in contact with these things just on the person, to find what's their choice to help them find solutions for their pain, and their whatever discomfort they have.
So, Rob, I assume the league doesn't, or at least did not in your day, want to bust guys for it, because we don't hear that much about positive tests or suspensions. There certainly are exceptions. Is it a don't ask, don't tell sort of deal with the NFL?
Yeah, I mean, I would think so. Cannabis use just wasn't going on when me and Calvin were playing. My father played in the league back in the 70s. My father-in-law played back in the 70s. There's similar stories. So, the truth is the plan is here for relief. And I think guys have been able to lean on it over the years. Guys that are going in the Hall of Fame are in the Hall of Fame. And they're going to be in the Hall of Fame will use and benefit from it, because of the stigma of it has been under, it's been kind of underneath the scenes, but that's our kind of job to kind of bring it out and say like, okay, it's okay. You can still use cannabis and make the Hall of Fame. You can still be successful. So,
and the key is that.
So Calvin might be the first cannabis business owner in the Hall of Fame, but Calvin, you think you're definitely not, according to Rob, the first Hall of Famer who has been a consistent smoker in the Hall.
Sorry, could you hit me with that again? Sorry, one more time.
To Rob's point, you think it's safe to say you're not the first Hall of Famer who is a consistent marijuana smoker?
That's a joke. No way. I didn't invent the wheel, just people have done a lot of the things that we've done before. We're not the first ones to do it. Like I say, not that we've learned from anybody that's come before us. Everybody has their own experience, but cannabis is like I say, it's a natural remedy, and people are trying to find the best ways to take care of themselves, and it's a way. It is a solution.
One of the shocking things that I saw, and I'm sure you both saw it, the NFL and the NFLPA have announced $1 million in grants and pain research focused on cannabis and CBD. That is a Barry Sanders-like reversal or spin move, considering where the league was in recent years. I want to get both your reaction to that decision by the NFL. Rob, you first.
Well, I hope they're waiting on our proposal, because they're going to see our proposal for it. I think the work that we're doing, the work that other guys are doing and really speaking out is starting to have an effect. We can see that with how they're kind of changing some of the rules and massaging the rules a little bit. I understand it's not going to happen overnight with cannabis smoking, but massaging it. And when you're putting money towards research, that means you really see the benefit, and they really see it as a solution for some of the things guys are going through. And they couldn't be. I mean, they're just being very smart the way they're going about their business, and I think it's going to be great. I think a lot of good is going to come out of that research and those grants.
Calvin, what was your reaction?
I saw it as a beautiful thing. I just hope that, we're in a position to have the opportunity to, show them solutions that, we're creating for, not just football players, but, if it's good enough for the greatest athletes, I like to say that this is good enough for all humanity. So if we're creating those solutions, I think that, I hope that we have an opportunity to participate.
Yeah, I was thrilled to hear about it. Why do you think it's taken the league so long to come around on this, Rob? They have relaxed the testing standards, and they have released lowered at least the thresholds to get punished. Why did it take so long to come around?
I look at how we've had to manage our business and how long it takes us to make certain decisions as a company. And we are nowhere near as big as the NFL yet. A $10 billion company that has a lot of different owners and a lot of different people that have people involved in decision making. It can only take us so long. Everybody's not going to be on the same page, and it'll come just like it'll come from the government making it legal and taking it as a Schedule 1. It's going to come. We just have to be patient. The folks that are out there right now just have to continue to do a good job spreading the message and really talking about the healing effects and what this can actually do.
Calvin, do you have a dialogue between you and the league about this? I mean, were there reservations about the Hall of Fame announcement? Were you worried that it might hurt you in that regard? Is there an open conversation between the two of you about cannabis?
Not necessarily an open conversation between the NFL and us personally. We would like to go there. I would say that, we've had these conversations, with the Hall of Fame, just introducing the things that we're doing, the solutions that we're trying to provide.
So historically, it would appear, and I'm not saying this with the NFL, but race has certainly played an enormous role with cannabis and and the legality of it. Blacks and whites smoke at about the same percentage, and yet blacks have been arrested almost 4 times as much historically. How much do you think, Rob, race has played into the lack of evolution on cannabis in this country?
Well, I think that's another reason why we're, our focus is all about changing the stigma. We want our folks, our race, to be able to enjoy the plant just like everybody else, and to be able to do it freely and to enjoy it, and more or less to really help them. So, as being 2 Black men that are in the business and are trying to do something positive around it. I just think that's our mission, and really that's our duty, is to really just go out there and really, to speak about it, and to call folks out when there's differences, and we've been able to do that. We're very, as a company, we're very focused in on our social equity piece and what we want to bring. So we just try to stay focused on that and stay positive.
Yeah, race is without a doubt been a factor in this country involving the war on drugs. But Calvin, do you think it was part of the reason that the NFL took so long to come around? You have a group of old white conservative owners. Did that play in?
100% that plays in. It takes, like Rob said earlier, it takes time to get all those people on the same page and to affect change in those kind of rooms. And to speak about the social equity piece, it's just unfortunate that every place that unveils cannabis each new state, everybody gets it backwards. And when I say that, I mean that they roll out the social equity piece last. That should be the first line of thought as far as who this has affected the most. How do we help those people? Instead, you have all the states that, okay, they give the licenses to the money, and then they try to interject the social equity piece. Then all of a sudden now you have lawsuits because now you're trying to force this piece in there that should have been there from the beginning, and then the money should have came in around it. So just hopefully somebody sees that and begins to do that right. It's frustrating to see everybody talk about social equity in the states, but there's a way to fix it. Just do it right from the beginning.
Yeah, 90% of cannabis businesses are owned by white people. I can tell you that is changing though here in Connecticut. Both of you guys. I mean, I live here where we are working on legislation, and social equity has been first and foremost from the very start. This is a bill I've read through its entirety, and it is all about social equity. In fact, Rob, you talked about some of the biggest misconceptions involving cannabis, marijuana. What are those misconceptions? Because it drives me nuts in my community. So many things are misunderstood about it. But what bothers you the most?
I think the addiction part of it, right? Culturally, everybody thinks that this is just another drug. This is another cocaine or heroin, and it's just not. No one's died from cannabis. It is it's natural. It was put here naturally. We're not taking it in its simplest form, not doing anything to the flower to really affect it. We're just trying to grow it as naturally as possible. I think it makes you unproductive is another one. Here we are, been able to start this business and work this 3 years, and I know I use cannabis every day, and I don't think that it slowed me down at all or stopped my productivity. I think if anything, it's made it better.
Calvin, what about you? What are about those misconceptions, misunderstood, the untruths that are out there? What bothers you?
I guess the untruths around cannabis is really just providing education. I guess I go back to my mom, for an example. She's from the South Bible Belt. We have family affected by cannabis. Everybody knows people that have been affected in a negative capacity that are colored people. And, getting her to understand and see, what we're doing, obviously through education and helping her to understand what it is, but honestly, at the same time, through visualization too, that kind of was, kind of helped shed a light and kind of helped us permeate through the fog of the stigma of the cannabis plant and really highlight, the healing powers of the plant and what it can do other than, we like to have fun and smoke it, but there's a lot more applications.
Yeah, I mean, I started socially just enjoying it, but back pain, I didn't want to take Vicodin any longer. Stress and anxiety it's helped me with. So I think there are a lot of things that it can help society with, beyond the fact that nothing drives me more nuts than having a couple margaritas and can't function the whole next day. Whereas if you have some cannabis, you feel fine the next day. And in fact, I would argue, Rob, you're more productive that next day by far than you are after a couple of drinks. And obviously I'm a guy that enjoys a couple of drinks. So that gets us to Primitive. Tell us about why you wanted in this industry, Rob, and what makes you guys unique in the marketplace.
Well, I mean, obviously it makes it unique because we're former football players. That makes us unique. But I think the way we go about our business, we've taken a lot of things from the field and just injected it in our business and injected it in our team and how we go about setting our culture and things like that. So I think that's the first place we stop. And but then I think going on from there is, being around somebody like Calvin, I have learned that, look, if we're going to do something, we're going to do it at the highest level. That's just what it's going to be. When the guy went to Dancing with the Stars, he was in the finals. He couldn't even dance before Dancing with the Stars, and here he is in the finals. So, it's just whatever we're going to be, we're going to go and get it and play it at a Hall of Fame level. And, we're going to go back to the drawing board if it's not there, and we're just going to continue to always plow through and just get better.
Calvin, I want you to pick up on that story from Dancing with the Stars and how it helped you through.
Say that again, how what?
How cannabis helped you through Dancing with the Stars, the story Rob just mentioned, if you could tell us about that.
Yeah, so, a couple of weeks into Dancing with the Stars, part of the reason why I retired, because, I had a lot of stuff going, but I had chronic swelling in my ankle, so I didn't have any flexibility to do all the moves that I needed to do on the football field, let alone on the dance floor. And all we're doing, we're out there doing the foxtrot and all these different dances, and I don't have the flexibility to move and keep up with my partner. I'm just like, I'm sitting there in my room, I was like, I'm trying to quit this show. I'm thinking about telling my partner, I just can't move. I'm going to have to just say I'm done. And I told one of my buddies, he's a film producer out in LA, Osahan Tongo, went to Georgia Tech with him. I told him this while we were hanging out. He brought me a topical the next day. And started using the topical over the course of the next week. The swelling was gone. It stayed down. I continued using the topical. And that was like a point where I was like, okay, I would love the opportunity to get on the ground level of this and get to the science of this.
Can you imagine, though, if you had to quit Dancing with the Stars because of pain as a former NFL player? Man, they would have killed you. So a topical, is that something you feature there at the dispensary once you guys are open? Is that a place, is that something you use in your day-to-day routine?
Definitely use topicals. Whenever I'm playing golf, I'll actually lather up before I go to kind of just go ahead and just make sure the swelling just stays at bay. And yes, we'll have a variety of products, just trying to provide for the customers here in Niles and wherever locale we're at, just trying to give them the best products possible.
Rob, in what form do you prefer cannabis? Is it the flower? Is it a pre-roll? Is it the oils, a pen, the drinks that some people consume? How do you prefer it?
I love flower. Like everybody, edibles has gotten the better of me a couple times before. So I'm more in the solution. I'm more in the solution business of trying to find those next applications that people can use. Right? There's gonna be a lot of new users that come to the market. We want to get into stuff like this, the drink that you have right now. We want to get into stuff like that, be able to provide things that people can use that don't just have the same, flower smell and what goes on behind that. So I'm a flower lover. I love the flower. I love it in its natural form. But we're going to be bringing a lot of other things to market, as we progress.
Calvin, same question to you. In what form do you prefer it and why?
For me, flower is king. I just love the cultivation of the flower. That's where it starts. I mean, it's the name primitive, it's the original, plant. It's the original medicine that's been put on this earth for us, that's been used for thousands of years, So flower in its original form is great, but and then there is a point where I want to do things that obviously something better for the body, probably other than the smoking. So that's what Rob was alluding to, the new applications. I look forward to seeing what we have coming up there.
I think we all agree on where it's going, but yeah, flower is certainly preferred as well. Where do you think it's headed, Rob? You talk about where it's going. It's certainly, I think it's like 55% of the industry right now is still people smoking the traditional flower. Where is it going?
Well, I mean, just like you saw, the nicotine market, go to more vapes and stuff like that. I think you see the cannabis market going to more drinks and water-soluble products. And really the applications are really endless, especially because cannabis has that, the wellness aspect to it. I mean, you'll see cannabis in some of those applications you will see in a hospital. Like that's coming next. Inhalers, things like that. I mean, I've been in meetings these last 3 years. You wouldn't believe that people had applications that, never thought cannabis would be coming out of, but here it is. So it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun in these next few years to be able to develop strategic partner with people to bring some cool things to market.
All right, show me some of this product. I know you guys have some pre-roll and you have some flower. The very nice packaging that looks like the gear you're wearing there. So tell me about this here. This is the flower. Yeah. What is it?
So this is our standard eighth bag. So 3.5 grams come in this. We wholesale this around the state right now. But what we loved about the packaging and our brand is that it's just really clean. We don't believe in putting like the characters on there and all that kind of stuff. We try to keep it as professional as possible. So this was this and our pre-roll right here. This is our first products that we brought to market. We think it's right on time, of course, with the Hall of Fame, and look forward to bringing some other things shortly.
Calvin's got a pre-roll there too. Will Primitive or Cannabis get a shout out in the Hall of Fame speech?
Oh, of course. This has consumed our lives like the last couple of years, and those closest to us are around us. So yeah, of course, this life right now, and we hope to leave a legacy and a stamp in this industry.
Wow. So has the NFL conveyed anything about what you should or should not say up there?
No, the NFL doesn't. This is out of their control.
I can't wait for that speech.
Opportunities they create this platform for us to be able to have this voice in this space. So wonderful.
How much, Rob, are you guys getting your hands dirty? I've seen a lot of photos of you in the Weberville grow. Looks like you're really working it there and learning a lot about the plant and the product and the process. Tell me about that.
Yeah, I believe in being in the trenches. I grew up in the trenches. I grew up with my hand in the dirt. I've done everything in this business from, and so has Kyle, to mopping the floors, to actually touching the plant. Nothing is beneath us, and we like to set the pace for our team. And so we've done a little bit of all of it, and we're proud of that. We're proud of being able to do that, and Just looking forward to, what's next for us.
Calvin, what have you learned about the plan and all that time that you guys are spending in Weberville?
I learned that I don't know that much about the plan. We've done a great job of hiring and having a great team. And then, our directors of cultivation, every time I go in there, I'm learning something new. So it just shows me how elementary, my knowledge base in cannabis is. But I mean, I feel like I have a better knowledge base than most, and in order to, elevate, this cannabis in general, we got to be able to educate and we got to be able to know what we're talking about.
I'll tell you what, the couple times I've been to grows, it is a science. My head explodes just walking through there and listening to these literal scientists teach you about it. It's really incredible. All right, a couple of quick football questions. I appreciate all the time you guys are spending with us. Let's try to go quickly through these. Julio Jones is now a Tennessee Titan and he wears number 2. Calvin, what was your reaction to that?
Man, I'm shocked Atlanta let him get away, but I look forward to seeing them because Tennessee was right there on the cusp last year with Henry. So I know Henry's going to be juiced up to have this guy Julio there. They're going to be excited to watch this year.
Robert, do you like a wide receiver wearing 2?
Yeah, I'm going to bring me back to my college days, man. I like that. I always liked the 2. I think it's going to be a good look out there. So I like it.
All right, you guys both lined up against Aaron Rodgers a few times. Do you sympathize with him, or do you say, shut up, dude? You got one of the best receivers in the game, 2 great running backs, a good offensive line, coach, and a good defense. I mean, Calvin, you would have killed to play with the team that he gets to every season. What's your reaction to his wanting out of Green Bay?
I mean, it's hard to say. Something happened there. It must be some kind of personal deal, like some words were exchanged, or something happened just to change his whole attitude. Because I know Green Bay's behind him. I know they love him. I know, Green Bay in general. Maybe not the administration or the coaches or whatnot. But I know that town is behind him. They want him back. I want to see Aaron Rodgers in green and yellow too. So I mean, I don't know. I can't. It's hard to speak on because I don't know the intimate details there.
I'd like to see him in Denver, Rob. What about you? Do you think he'll be in Green Bay for the rest of his career?
Man, I don't know how you let a guy like that go, but history has shown that they've done it before.
Yep.
So their culture is their culture. They moved on from Brett Favre and put him in there. I mean, I see it happening again. So I do see him on another team one day.
Okay. Quick question. You were in the trenches, Rob. Would you rather be tackled by Aaron Donald or would you rather tackle the big fella, Derrick Henry? This is an open field. Would you rather be tackled by Aaron Henry or tackle Derrick Henry? Aaron Donald, excuse me.
I would say, without sounding cocky, I would take my shot at Aaron Donald because I know what to do with that a little bit more. I have some answers for a player that got like that. Things I can lean on. Derrick Henry, man, I just don't get it, man. I mean, the guy is like a D lineman out there running the ball, man. I mean, guys are I couldn't imagine being a DB trying to run up and tackle him. Unbelievable. Yeah, unbelievable.
Calvin, would you rather tackle Derrick Henry or be tackled by Aaron Donald?
I'd rather elude Aaron Donald. I can do that. I'm not trying to tackle. I don't want to be on Derrick Henry's poster. I really don't. Like that kid, a couple guys last year.
Just awful.
Yeah, a couple ugly ones. All right, toughest corner you ever played against, Calvin?
Toughest corner I ever played against. That's tough. I have to get that one to Patrick. Yeah.
Patrick Peterson.
You have to get at the Pat P. Just overall, like in your face toughness, capability to stay with you wherever you're on the field. As far as just toughness in your face, that Al Harris back in Green Bay when I first started. Nobody after him until Pat P came along would get in my face and really try to get in my head and just try to disrupt me the whole game and had the capacity and capability to do it the whole game. So Pat P's the only really one that really challenged like that, just the entirety of the game.
Did you play against Revis?
I played against Revis a couple times, but sometimes my first time playing against him, I mean, it's like coverage over top. It wasn't really jam. He played the catch technique. He played the press to catch technique.
All right. Rob, toughest guy to block in your career?
By far, Justin Smith, San Francisco. I played against him twice a year in Seattle, and then when I got to Detroit, it was like I couldn't. Like we kept playing San Francisco. It was awful. But I think out of the, I don't know, me probably played him 6 or 7 times. It's probably Justin 6, Rob 1. So I've never been beaten that many times on the field ever. So Justin.
Calvin, best wide receiver in the game today.
Best wide receiver in the game today. That's tough. That's very tough. It's hard, man. I don't know. I can give you different attributes, maybe the best hands or something like that. But best in the game today.
DeAndre Hopkins, Adams.
Who's the second person you said?
I said DeAndre Hopkins would be mine, but I'm not. Devontae Adams, I would say, would be in the conversation. I'm not trying to give you an answer.
No. D-Hop is definitely up there. He's definitely in my top. He's definitely got the best hands in the NFL right now. The only thing is it's just hard to judge because, I don't get to see the guys. I don't get to see them play. I just see the highlights, and that's all I get to see. I really can't. I don't want to go out there on the limb and say this is the best guy when I don't haven't even seen him play. Maybe he makes these great plays, but he don't block. I can't, even though he's the highlight guy, I can't say he's the best player because he doesn't play all the time. So.
All right. So Rob, who's the player you would pay to watch? The guy that you want to sit down on a Sunday and just say, I just want to watch this dude play and sit there and focus and see what he can do.
I mean, I just say Patrick Mahomes, man, his creativity and what he brings to the table. I mean, it's crazy, man. He's like an one basketball player playing quarterback, man. The stuff he can do with the ball, his control, his leadership, and how young he is, man. I just think we're going to be watching something really special for the next few years.
No doubt about that. I will watch him play anytime. Okay, so when I texted a buddy that I'm interviewing you, Calvin, he says, I only have one question. Would he come back and play for my Giants today? Because he'd still be their number one receiver. Are you still fielding, calls from NFL teams? When was the last time someone called and said, come back?
I have no idea. My agent fields all those calls, but he knows my answer. I told him ever since I left, I was like, I'm not coming back. I can't do it. Don't want to do it.
No interest.
No interest in coming back. And last interest in somebody's show, I have no idea. I really couldn't tell you.
Okay. I find it odd that you are going into the Hall of Fame as we started this conversation in August, but you're still not on the Lions Ring of Honor. I can't imagine a single player going into the Hall of Fame before his team's Hall of Fame. Where is that relationship today?
We'll see. Like I said, earlier this year I had some good conversations with Ms. Hamp, but we'll see what happens. I'm focused on doing this right here, building up primitive, and if they want to make things work, then hey, I'm open to listening.
Certainly. Okay, so there are a lot of professional athletes in this industry, NBA predominantly, as I mentioned. Either of you, is there another former athlete you would like us to interview next? We want to get kind of a tag system going so we involve all these former athletes. Do either of you have someone we should reach out to?
We did Ricky Williams' podcast a couple weeks ago. I thought it was one of the most interesting podcasts I did. Obviously, Ricky has a great story to tell, and I think his new Heisman brand is going to be a good one, man. I think that's a cool name for his brand. So I think I'll tag it over to Ricky.
All right, Calvin, you got anyone for us?
You said the athlete is not football, just in the industry.
Any former athlete in the industry. But it could be a celebrity. It could be an actor who is public about their embrace of it.
I don't know anybody in the industry that's a celebrity or besides
Ricky Williams is a good.
Besides Viola guys and Al Harrington and those guys. I don't know if you talked to them.
Yeah. Al Harrington is a good one. All right. Well, fellas, we really appreciate it. We wish you the best of luck. When do we think we are opening there in Niles so we can come see you?
I can't give you, every time I give somebody a day, it gets pushed back. So just soon. You will hear about it.
And after Niles, I think there's one other, right?
Yeah, after that, we got some other things coming down the pipe. I mean, we got a lot in store. We just getting started, man. Tip of the iceberg right now.
But no announcements on where that. I think I read Lansing.
Yeah, Lansing's next. Yeah, that'll be next. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Niles and then Lansing. Can't wait to come see you there, fellas. Best of luck to you. Really appreciate the time today.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Pro Cannabis Media Programming and PCM TV is supported by Revolutionary Clinics, Massachusetts' #1 medical dispensary where the patient comes first, and by Salient Systems for Video Surveillance. You've got regulations, Salient has solutions for your security needs. And by Accounting Buds, your #1 CPA specialist for the cannabis industry. And by Artery Pay, easy, cheap, fun, and legal, just like cannabis should be.
Hi, I'm Ben Shire, New England rep for Salient Video Management Systems. Let me tell you what makes us different in the security space. We're your trusted advisors for all your security needs. I know how complicated the regulations are in cannabis, and working with Salient Systems will be the polar opposite of that. I give free consultations and will walk you through every step of the process so that you can get what you need at the price you can afford. We're robust, we're simple and scalable. We're Salient Systems, your solutions to all your security needs. Please contact me at the information below, and I'm looking forward to being your trusted advisor.
Pro Cannabis Media Programming is available live and on demand on our Facebook page at Pro Canna Media, on Instagram at Pro Cannabis Media, on LinkedIn also at Pro Cannabis Media, on YouTube and YouTube Live on Pro Cannabis Media, Twitter at Pro Canna Media, and on twitch.tv/Pro Cannabis Media. So like, share, and subscribe to all of our content, newsletters, and shows live or on demand.
We are Pro Cannabis Media.